Good day, Mr. Ryan here, the Yinzer therapist, presenting another episode of Mindful Moments. It has been a little bit. Life has been quite lifey. People have been quite peoply. I've been incredibly busy over the month of August. It has just been wild. But finally, have a little bit of a gap in my schedule. So I'm going to take a moment and do another one of these wonderful videos and continue to spread mental health awareness and continue to having excellent conversations about what it means to take care of ourselves in this crazy, crazy world. So thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. Please, please, please like, subscribe, comment, share, keep spreading the word. Let's keep growing this audience and keep trying to make our corner of the world sparkle as much as we can, right? So on this awesome Friday, August 30th, heading into Labor Day weekend, I think the big thing I want to start off with is a moment of gratitude and a moment of reflection. We are coming upon the end of another summer, launching our way into another fall with a glorious school year, and it's an interesting time. Looking back on the summer I've had, I am very, very grateful for the experiences that I got over the summer. I was able to make it out to Vegas to the Spear to see the Dead. I was able to make it to my first fish festival at Mon Green. I was able to go to Kennywood a whole bunch with my kids and my wife. I was able to get my youngest two to Sandcastle for the first time, including taking one of my youngest's friends. So she was brave enough to ride the water slides finally. Um, it's been a pretty glorious summer. It's been filled with a lot of fun, a lot of good memories that we're going to hold on to for a long, long time. I'm really appreciative of such things. And next week is my 11th wedding anniversary. The wife and I are going to Niagara Falls, the Canadian side. So I'm very grateful for 11 wonderful years of marriage. I can't wait to spend a couple days on the road with my favorite traveling buddy of all time, my wife. Uh, it's good. Things are good. And I'm very, very grateful that I have the privilege and the ability to say those things because, especially being as a therapist, I know how not good things can be. So I ask you, my wonderful audience, take a moment, reflect on your summer. What are you grateful for? What are you appreciative of? And please, if you're up to it, please comment below and let me know what you're grateful for and what kind of summer that you've always feels so good to take a moment to express some gratitude and really reflect on the awesomeness that is our lives, because sometimes it's not so awesome and we really need those reminders, right? We really do. So next on today's programming is we are going to do a guided meditation, a breathing exercise. This one is going to kind of combine elements of a grounding exercise, and we're going to be able to utilize all of our senses to kind of help me use this as a practice to lead these meditations in person, right? Hopefully the goal of these videos is to connect and network so I can do TED Talks and public speaking and hold assemblies at schools, right? And take this good stuff and get it out there in the real world and get it out of just being in my therapy office, right? So with that, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to kind of read through this script together. I'm going to keep the words up on the screen so you can read it yourself or you can listen to me, kind of give us a bunch of different ways to digest the information, but really allow us to teach this kind of skill of being able to take time in for ourselves and focus on our senses and stay grounded and meditate and grow those healthy brain fibers in that prefrontal cortex, right? So bear with me. I'm going to share on my screen and we're going to get after this guided meditation. This is our guided meditation. We're going to start with the sense of sound. Okay. So close your eyes if you feel comfortable. You can leave them open if you want. Always remember these kind of exercises are very, very adaptable. They need to be modifiable. You need to be able to make it your own, right? So eyes closed, eyes open, sitting up, laying down. It's really what you want to do to make this your own and make it work for you. But let's focus on those sounds around us. What kind of different sounds are there? Is there more than one? Is there three? Is there four? Can you separate the sounds out and listen to just one individually? Or do you hear them as a wholeness, as one giant sound? So let's sit here for a couple minutes, just breathing normally, listening actively to one sound and another, listen to our surroundings, see which ones we like, which ones we don't. Is there one that you can't recognize? Right? What does it sound like? Notice how the sounds weave in and out of the silence. So let's just sit and listen. All right. Now, this one is where this script gets me, right? Now let's listen to experiment hearing the totality of the sound. That means everything you're hearing on your eardrums. We want you to hear without listening. Don't try to separate the sounds out. Listen to them as they arise. Listen to them as one giant streaming consciousness of noise. We will sit here for another minute. Hear the silence that underlies and surrounds the sounds from which they arise and in which they return. Now, we're going to be focusing on our sight. If you had your eyes closed, open them. Let's look at the world of light around us. Let's look at the objects that are in our room. Take your time focusing on one or another. See it as a whole room. See it as individual parts. Check out everything that is in the field of vision that you are currently experiencing just in this moment. Now let's take some time to look actively at one object after another. Work hard not to label them or judge them or analyze them. Just look at them. What do they look like? What are their shapes? Where does the objects end? Where do they begin? Now let's go back and not just looking at the individual objects. Let's look at the totality of the visual field. Let's look at the room that you're in as one thing. Move your eyes to the left, to the right, up and down. Take in the entire scene in front of you. What kind of thoughts come up? Now Now take a moment to focus on the space that surrounds and underlies your objects. Everywhere around you, there is space, even underneath the objects. Right? Remember how atoms and molecules work. Nothing that looks like it's touching is actually touching. Take a moment to appreciate all the space around you. Right. Now we're going to go into smell. Now, this one can be tricky. There may not be too many smells right around you, but let's see what we can do. Right? Let's see what is there. There's always something to smell, even if it may be very, very subtle. So let's take a moment and let's slowly inhale through that nose, and let's notice the smell of the air around you. And remember, we're working hard not to label the smell. You don't want to consider it good or bad. It just is. Is it different if you inhale through your mouth? Is there a different sensation, a different smell? Is there an absence of smell? Is the absence of the smell similar to the silence that underlies the sounds and the space that underlies the objects? Taste. Now let's close your eyes and dive fully into that sense of taste. Unless we're eating right now, all we're really tasting is the inside of our mouth. What does those sensations on your tongue feel like? Is there any leftover taste from breakfast or early lunch, maybe your morning coffee? Same thing here as before. Don't label the taste. Don't judge it. It's not good or bad. It just is. Experience the taste. Perhaps it reminds you that you may need a piece of gum or a drink of a refreshing beverage. If you can, grab something, a piece of gum, a grape, a piece of fruit, and let's eat something. Let's close our eyes and really concentrate on the taste. If this isn't possible right now, try to keep this idea in your head for when you do get an opportunity to eat. Studies have shown the better job we do invoking all our senses when we eat, the quicker we feel full, the less likely we are to overeat. Touch. An interesting sense of ours, right? Because the idea is that you have to touch something to feel it. But sometimes you can feel sensations in your arms and your hands and your feet when you aren't touching anything. This is the sense of the body sensations. So, with those eyes closed, or maybe they're open, let's try to feel our entire body. Let's try to feel our arms, our legs, our hands, our feet. Can we feel the hair on top of our head? Can we feel the clothes that are on our skin? All right. And then our last sense, the sense of thought. This is more observed in Eastern philosophy, but let's take a moment here and let's look at the thoughts in our mind, how they evolve, how they pass through. Let's try not to grab onto them. Let's not engage with them. Let's not go down any thought trains or rabbit holes. Let's let the thoughts come and go like clouds in the sky. Let's observe the thoughts that this grounding exercise has curated for you. And we will sit here for 2 minutes to kind of see and check in with our body. Do we notice anything different? Do we feel lighter, feel calmer? Do we feel more in control, more aware? What do we feel? I like guided meditations. They can sometimes be hard to get the brain to focus on the things, but it can be so beneficial to be able to take that time in for ourselves and ground ourselves, right? And really, I think the benefits of being able to use grounding exercises as a coping skill is it's one of those things that's very accessible. Everywhere we go, our senses are sensing things, right? There's all kinds of different kinds of stimulation in the world around us. Being able to use such a rudimentary part of our bodies, right? Using those senses to touch in and ground ourselves and stop the intrusive thoughts and those mental thought loops that can be so self-destructive. I think it'd be a very useful skill. We can use it when we're riding the bus. We can use it when we're sitting in a doctor's office. We can use it when we're in class, right? There's a lot of different applications for such a coping skill. And especially combining the senses with the breathing and like that kind of meditation, it's like a twofer, right? And in life, twofers are a really good thing. That's for sure. That's for sure. Okay. Well, thank you so much for sticking with us here. I hope you enjoyed that guided meditation. Before we move on to a different kind of coping skill, I just want to take a moment to talk about this idea of neuroplasticity. It's a big fancy word, excuse me, that really speaks to the brain's ability to change, right? One of the things that I work with so many of my clients on is this idea of retraining the brain to respond to stimuli and stressors the way we want us to, right? It can be a big challenge because a lot of times there's what we'd call leftover survival skills, right? Things and habits that were very useful to get us through and allowed us to reach certain milestones in our life, but are now not very useful and now may actually be habits and choices that are very harmful for ourselves, right? So this idea of neuroplasticity, right? This idea that the brain can change really plays into the fact and the importance of doing the things like the exercises we just did, right? Doing those kinds of guided meditations, taking that kind of time in for ourselves, really allows the brain to grow, to change, to strengthen, right? The more we develop the awareness and start correcting the behavior patterns, the easier it becomes to cement those kinds of behaviors, right? So, what I'm really getting at is we can't just say, that's how my brain is. I'm traumatized. This is just how I react. This is just how it has to be. Um, if you want to, in a lot of arenas, in a lot of ways, there's things we can do. There's things that can change. There's ways to get better, right? And that's that neuroplasticity. And one of the things that's really important about it is giving your brain the foundation, the time in, the love, the care to grow those healthy brain fires, for it to reorganize itself, to be a solid functioning mass of awesomeness, it takes some dedication, right? My man, Dr. Dan Siegel, who is just an absolute mentor of mine. I love his books. I love his teachings. If you haven't heard the name Dr. Dan Siegel, please, please, please go out, Google it, find his works. The way he views the world with his interpersonal neurobiology is really, really important. Um, I forgot what I was going to say. I got distracted. Oh, ADHD brain. Yeah, like we said, we got to be committed to doing this process imperfectly. And this is a clear moment where I lost that train of thought and then I just got it back. Ha! So, what we were talking about was Dr. Dan Siegel and his wonderful work. One of the things he's identified is all these different times and kinds of time that are very healthy for the brain, right? There's playtime, right? Which is fun, right? That's an important part for our brain. Exercise time is important. Focus time in, right? Taking those moments to practice our breathing exercises, practice our grounding exercises, right? Taking that time in for ourselves is an important part of that. Downtime, right? Having time where there's nothing scheduled, there's nothing to do, there's no expectations of us, just being able to sit and vibe, right? That's an important thing. Um, so, yeah, we need to make sure we are choosing healthy habits, choosing different activities and things and choices in that so that we are developing that healthier brain. So we're giving our brain these opportunity to have neuroplasticity and to grow and change and be able to modify these leftover survival skills and be able to choose healthier coping skills, right? Be able to have stronger, better emotional regulation, right? And I think it also speaks to one of the reasons why I'm trying to get this as a weekly show is to get everybody that time in for themselves on a regular basis, because the thing about these skills to grow the brain, it's a cumulative effect, right? We're not going to do one breathing exercise and suddenly everything's different. It's going to take doing a breathing exercise every single day for several years at a time to really, cement these kinds of healthy changes in the right way, right? So that's what these episodes are for, promoting that healthy lifestyle, making these kinds of healthy choices part of our daily lives, right? So we promote that idea of neuroplasticity. So we promote that idea of our brain reorganizing itself and getting healthier so we can better manage the day's stress, right? I think it's a very, very awesome thing. So, yes, please always, always, always remember you can retrain your brain, you can adapt and overcome, we can learn new skills, and can forget those old outdated survival skills that are no longer serving us a purpose, right? All right. Well, thank you guys so much for sticking with us, for tuning in, for being here for another episode of Mindful Moments. We are just about done with today's episode, but I do want to do another coping skill before we leave. I really try to get 2 of them in per episode because coping skills are not one size fits all. What works for one client is not always going to work for another, so it's good to have a variety to choose from. So my hope is if I at least demonstrate 2 different coping skills per episode, that at least one of those coping skills will resonate with you guys, the awesome audience out there, right? At least that's the theory, right? So please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know when I'm doing good. Let me know when I'm doing bad. Please share your thoughts on these coping skills. Please share what kind of coping skills work for you, right? But as for our final coping skill today, our last little activity, what we're going to do is what I like to call brain humming. That is not a term that I came up with. That is from Jim Donovan of the Sun King Warriors, formerly of Rusted Root. He does a lot of teaching and sound healing. And one of the things that he has worked and taught me is about vagal nerve stimulation using auditory humming. Right. And what's nice about this, much like the grounding exercises and the meditations using our senses, I feel this is a very accessible skill because it's pretty much boils down to vowel sounds with on the end of it. Right. We have done one of these before in an earlier episode. What we're going to do today is 2 different sounds, and we're going to do one, then the other, then one, then the other. Um, and the first sound is going to be eem, right? EEM. So, and then the second one is going to be hum, HUM, right? So first we're going to do heme, and then we're going to do hum. And in between, we'll talk and doing this. This should hopefully last another 5-10 minutes. We'll see how it goes. Okay. So go ahead and lay down, sit down, relax, get comfortable. Remember, only do this as much as you can and within your limits. You do not have to match my pitch. You do not have to match my length. The important thing is to do it is what's comfortable for you, right? Um, we want to make sure that we are loud enough to get good vibration going on. We want to make sure, and what we want to try to notice is doing the two sounds like this, where one resonates and vibrates versus the other. Okay? So go ahead and take a deep breath. I'm going to take a sip of water. We get started here. Oh, all right. So first we're going to do heme, and then we're going to do hum. Okay. So big breath in. Now hum. Good. We're gonna do this sequence a few more times, okay? Eem. All right, last round. He home. Big breath in. Let it out. Big breath in. Big breath out. Now, as we wrap up and close up shop for today, let's sit here for a few moments and see, does our body feel different at all? Is there any tingling, any calmness? Has the voice inside your head suddenly gone quiet? Comment, like, subscribe, let me know. Well, folks, it sure has been fun hanging out again today. I really appreciate the love and you guys being here and working on refining those coping skills, being reminded how important it is to take those mindful moments of the day and really sit and connect and be present. We need to grow those healthier brains so we continue to deal with the world around us and how crazy topsy-turvy it is, right? We really, really do. So I hope today you found something valuable and enjoyable. I hope you learned something. Please like, comment, subscribe. Please let me know how I'm doing here. I can't wait to see you guys again for another episode of Mindful Moments. Hopefully, I'll get another episode of Couples Corner up going as well. And please don't forget to check me out on Instagram and TikTok at Yinzer Therapist 37. I'm also on, there's where I'm at on is YouTube as well. Yinzer Therapist 37 should be up here in this one corner, which one of the corners. Um, Thank you so much. Have yourselves a wonderful and awesome, amazing day. Thank you so much for showing up to yourself. And until next time, whatever you do, take care of your shoes. Peace.